I gotta say, today was a good day. Welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast. The season opener occurred today, while simultaneously, the Arizona Diamondbacks clinched their second berth to the World Series. So here we are on a fun day, an exciting day, a nervous day in Arizona sports. And for one of the very few times in Arizona history where you have one team, the Diamondbacks, playing a Game 7 in Philadelphia against the Phillies, they win. And then you have the Phoenix Suns on opening night, not just their opening night, NBA opening night, going to Golden State, another team on the road. And they TCOB. Matthew, they take care of business as well. Phoenix Suns beat the Golden State Warriors 108-104, and we're 1-0 on the season.
Yeah, what a way to start. And like Sunderous Dunks does say in the chat, Book is the MVP. Way to end it. Not in scoring, but moving the ball around. Very beautiful. What a day. You're right, man. It was perfect too. How the game went to halftime and then you got to watch the bottom of the ninth.
Yes.
It was perfect. The only time I've really watched
the game. Suns.
So it was cool. It was quite the enjoyment tonight.
Yeah, I will say this. A very unproductive work day for me. So if you're one of my work colleagues, I'm sorry. I was just trying to get to the finish line because of the magnitude of this day of October 24th, 2023 in Phoenix sports history. And to see it occur the way it did and in the artistic way that it did, you got to watch some of the game. You got to watch the first half. The Suns are like, you know what? We'll go to halftime. We'll let everybody watch the bottom of the ninth. We'll watch this team go for another Game 7 victory, their first Game 7 since 2001 against the New York Yankees, a game I did attend as a 19-year-old. Here I am at now 41, and they're going to the World Series. I was 19, and I was at the game, so, I mean, just unbelievable. So welcome, everybody, to the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name is John. His name is Matthew. John and Matthew Jam. That's what we do here, peanut butter and jam session. And we come to you live after every single game. Every single Phoenix Suns game, you can tune in right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast channel, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or on Twitch. And, of course, you can always listen to the podcast at a later time. It's going to be released shortly after we finish wrapping things up here, and it's on anywhere that you get your podcast. So make sure that you subscribe, you rate, and you review. Hang out with us all season long. It's going to be a fun and fantastic season, not only for the Phoenix Suns, but right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast, right here with you in the chat. I see the chat's going crazy. Plenty to talk about when it comes to this game, when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. So, Matthew, is there anything that we should do before we pop open some beers?
Let's get into it.
All right, I'm popping open a beer on this nice little, what is it, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yes. And let's talk about a Suns victory. That's right, Suns fans. It is a 108-104 victory over the Golden State Warriors, which brings me, of course, to my first question, because that's how we start off every podcast. I got to ask Matthew a question. So I'll do it in an Australian accent, thanks to Boyd from the Aussie Suns fan podcast.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
Ask.
What do you got?
Do you ever think that KD ever just thinks to himself, damn, when will I ever play on a super team where all three players?
Yeah, I saw that tweet. That is funny. It does suck because when we got KD, if you guys don't remember, he didn't play his first game with us, right? And then we get Beal. There he is sitting on the bench. It's a little different, but I think KD is more interested in just getting through the regular season.
100%.
As you can tell with him playing tonight, he's a little older, so he's trying to, just ignore those injuries himself. But, it's a cautious thing, right? You don't really want to put Beal out there if his back hurts. I know Joe House from The Ringer, Bill Simmons' friend, did put out, oh, good luck, Phoenix, with that, meaning Beal's injury, because he's used to it over there in Washington. So hopefully it's not a thing, right? Hopefully this is not what's going to happen during the regular season, the rest of the season.
So it's interesting. Obviously, fantasy basketball season is picked up. And one of the things that I did recently is I wrote a piece for brightsideofthesun.com. And if you get a chance, head over there to read both Matthew and my writing. And one thing that I brought up was the projected stats of different Phoenix Suns players this season per fantasy projections. And all of the fantasy projections have all of the big three playing about 61 to 65 games. I think they'd book at 66 games. So they are going to miss games this season. And I think that that's part of the understanding that we have as a team and a fan base, that ultimately what matters is health when we hit the postseason. When you hear Bradley Beal has a tight back issue, and again, nothing structurally wrong. He's not going through sciatic pain or a pinched nerve. He has some tightness in his back. It's game one of the season. And for anybody who's had any lower back issues, and this is something I can speak from experience too, you just don't fuck with it. Like, let him heal. It's game one of the regular season. And look, we still win without him. Now, granted, they don't have Draymond, but I think when it comes to scoring, obviously, the challenge that we have as fans, it's like we're waiting for Christmas morning to occur, and we get down, and you get like a PlayStation 5, and you get the next thing you unwrap, it's NBA 2K24. And then it's like a controller, but like it's not plugged in or charged. So you just have to wait a little bit to charge your controller. And that's what we felt this morning when we initially heard that Bradley Beal wasn't going to play, but it's not something I'm overly concerned with. I know that the Aussie Suns fan podcast said something today earlier on the PHNX pregame show, and they said if this is game 15 and these issues are still occurring, then it's something to worry about. But right now, right here, it's not something to worry about. I'm not worried about it. Matthew, or you?
No, I'm not. The first thing I thought about when I heard about the back injury, it's really sensitive to a lot of like, if you're going through some changes, some stress, stuff like that, that does tighten up. So for me, the first thing I thought about is Beal, his first big move here to Phoenix. He has to show out, make sure that he's actually maybe that second guy on the team. And that's a lot to moving your family, getting everything across the whole United States here to
Arizona,
it
in his back.
Arizona. Yeah, I think the back, you can throw your back out. You can't for sure. But when it comes to stress, it might be tightened up. So loosen up, man. Go get that massage, do some yoga, just, talk to your wife and kids and just be like, you know what, we're going to be okay. And then that back will be fine for the next game Thursday night.
Yes, against the Lakers. And if it's not, then okay. Because I'll tell you
That's
what,
fine.
I don't know if you watched any of that Lakers
No,
game.
I didn't, but I don't care about the Lakers. I told you. Washed.
I want to give a shout out real quick to Thomas Sinet, one of our elite jamsters who's hanging out in the chat. A $10 donation. He says, for the win and donation to another season. So thank you, Thomas. And again, thank you to everybody who's just hanging out with us to watch the post-game podcast right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Who should we talk about first, Matthew? You tell me, and I'll make it happen.
Could we talk about Josh Okogie? Is that cool?
I think that's an absolutely fantastic choice.
Hey, Joe. Where you going with that?
So Josh Okogie, one of the returning starters from last season, comes out, plays again tonight, gets the start, plays just fantastic basketball, in my personal and humble opinion. Plays a total of 32 minutes, 7 of 9 from the field, including 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, which was a huge 3 at the back end of the game. 17 points, only 5 rebounds, but 1 assist, 1 steal, and in typical fashion, of his 5 rebounds, 4 of them were on the offensive end, Matthew.
This guy is insane. And you asked me who to go first. I had to choose J.O. just because he's my favorite player. And obviously, we're going to talk about the other guys. Let's just start with him because I think he's a guiding light around that rim. How many times tonight did he save the Suns' ass? Really, from either the Golden State Warriors like deepening their lead or else them just coming back. Like, he just made sure to keep the Suns in the game all night long. Those are huge rebounds around the rim. I don't think anybody does it better than him. Last year, we kind of saw how he was so good at finishing around the rim, right? Tonight, it's just like it went to another level. Like, you trust him. I don't know who you would trust more than J.O. with the ball around there. Maybe Booker, but he's an automatic finish. A big 3 at the end of the game. He keeps the Suns in games, and he can guard the best player all night. Bill Simmons did ask who's going to guard Steph Curry around screens. Did a pretty decent job tonight when he had the opportunity. He was honestly like my favorite player to watch tonight, and he's going to be all season.
As John Tran says in the chat, chasing around Steph all night too. And putting Steph in tough situations and ultimately getting Steph into foul trouble. That all is a direct result of the hustle that we saw from Josh Okogie tonight. Like you said, he's a guy who makes winning plays. And even listening to Van Gundy and Ian Eagle call the game, they're even kind of shocked. They're like, oh, Okogie again. Another offensive rebound, another possession that is extended simply because of the presence of Josh Okogie. And that's something that, again, on the national level, you're not going to get a lot of understanding for what he's going to bring. You're going to look at that lineup, and as I'm sure many Warriors fans did tonight, and I can't wait until you do the subreddit stakeout later in the podcast to hear what they were saying over there on their subreddit. Did you not do it?
Yeah, I totally did.
Oh, okay. The giggle was one of either I didn't do it.
Totally did it, dude.
You're doing it right now. You're just sniffing stuff. But it's one of those things.
I totally did it.
Okay.
All right.
Totally.
Continue.
But when Grayson Allen and Josh Okogie are in that starting five, you got to be, as a Warriors fan, sitting there and be like, yeah, okay, we got Wiggins, we got Paul, we got Klay Thompson, we got Steph Curry and Kevon Looney. Like, there's no way at home. There's no way you're gonna beat us. But that's the low key talent that Jo carries. Is he somebody who, again, he's a fuck shit up guy, and he was out there fucking up possessions. You know, there's about 4 Warriors fans somewhere on this planet who threw something at some point during this game when Josh Okogie negated a defensive rebound for the Warriors and gave the Suns an extra possession. And then, of course, Devin Booker sets him up in the final 3 minutes of the game. He hits a corner three, a three that we saw him miss many a time last season when he was part of that 8-0 run at the end of the season with Kevin Durant. He hit that, and like you said, he's taken his interior game to another level. And it was just it was a fun watch for Jo, man.
Yeah, and this team with the Warriors, the way they play is just, it's kind of nasty. I think Kevin Durant gets the worst of it, but when you can match that and just have like an ugly win, he's the perfect player for that. You know, you're trying to find the flashy player to take over. Book does his best. He's absolutely incredible.
Yes.
But in a game like this, Book can match that, but Okogie's like the next guy in line that's just ready to play these type of games. And it's going to be like this a lot this season, especially out west. It's not just going to be the Warriors. These teams 1 through 15, I'm going to say almost all of them, are going to be like scrounging at the Suns. They're going to be like in there just dirty with them. And he's a perfect guy to match that.
Exactly. He's going to bring that fuck shit up energy. And we saw that tonight. And it's something that, we should continue to see throughout the season. And again, I will reiterate, 7 of 9 from the field, 17 points, 17 points. He was our 3rd highest scorer in the game. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Great.
Obviously, the guy who scored the most points in the game,
Big Dick Booker.
Big Dick Booker out there slanging that thing around. 32 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds in this game. And again, what is most important is the fact that he was the guy who was drawing all of the offense in that fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, he ends up scoring 7 points. He gets 3 assists, but those are the last 3 main possessions for the Phoenix Suns is when he's getting his assists. Kevin Durant was just standing off to the side on all 3 possessions. He didn't have to do anything. He's just doing this. He's watching, and he just like fist pumps and like runs back down the court. He didn't have to do anything because of who Devin Booker is from a scorer standpoint and from a playmaking standpoint. Again, 32, 8, and 6, an absolutely fantastic performance by Big Dick Book, man.
Yeah, 21 points in the first half. I thought he could have had 30. I think KD kind of took some of that away from him. You know, struggling tonight. KD was definitely struggling tonight, but Booker just had the flow in the first half. Second half slowed down a little bit, but like you said, he got those big assists. I feel like, I don't know if you noticed, like the way he's kind of slowing down offensively, like the turnaround that looks like Kobe, but him with like the Euro step, he has that kind of now, finishing around the rim a little differently. He seems like, the only way I could put it is like he's more mature with the ball. Like he kind of understands the game more. Like he's trying to, like we always talked about before these seasons started, who's going to lead the team in assists. Well, like he's really, I think, zoned in on just really trying to find his teammates, but then taking his time. If he's going to get his shot, he's making sure that it makes sense. I don't know, like it just looks totally different, like a new mature Book out there with the ball. And I love it, of course. Like tonight, my friend texted me, he was like, dude, Book is ridiculous. It's like, yeah, 21 points, but he should have had more. But you know what? He's going to facilitate the ball and give KD, and when Beal comes back, their opportunity too. It's going to be awesome. But like, don't you just want Book to take every shot? Like there was one possession where he missed a 3, got the ball back, and I was just like, shoot it. He passed it up, got the ball back, and then he shot it.
And then he made the 3.
Yeah, it's just like, I just want him to shoot everything. That's the way it was last year. this year, I'm not going to go back on that. I want him to take every shot.
Yeah, I mean, the efficiency in which he does so is elite, and it's something that we observed in the preseason, that it looks like Devin Booker, as he's entering his prime, he's 27 in 6 days. On the 30th, he turns 27.
Jeez.
And he is somebody who is leveling up from a scoring standpoint. He's added more things, and I think that what you pointed out is a great observation. He has a slight hesitation in his game that is something we've seen before, but he's getting to that perfection standpoint where he knows when to kind of Euro. He knows when to just almost go in slow-mo to get his shots. And that's something he's kind of picked up from KD, because that's like a KD move. KD knows how and when to use his body to slow down or speed up and still get off that shot at the great release point for an effective shot to either get primarily to get the defender out of his shot zone and out of the blocking zone, if you will. But what we saw from him tonight was fantastic. You saw everything in his game. He's physical in the post. He's getting down on Steph Curry, who's a decent post defender, and backing him down and hitting like the Kobe-like fadeaway early in the game. He knows how to get into Klay Thompson's head too. It's another thing that you could see him talking shit to Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson was kind of going back and forth with him. And Klay ultimately was 3-11 from beyond the arc in this game, and you can attribute some of that to just the way that Devin Booker, like he when he's out there talking shit, he's making those like just deep cuts, those ninja cuts, shit talk, and he's not like Tupac. He's like, "I'll fuck your bitch." He's just like, "Your bitch wanted to fuck me," and what? You like run back down the court. You're like, "She did?" Like it's like it's different. It's like he's got that like that shit talking that's just next level, just
they
like
don't
a
trust
shot.
Women. They don't trust women. Some of them don't care. I don't think about that. They already probably know. They all sleep with each other. But I was going to say too, you can see it like on almost every play from Book when he's running down the sideline, the baseline, and he's just looking at the bench, and he's just like, I don't know what he's doing, but there's always like a smirk or something. He's always smiling. And Joel Embiid already said it last year, where he's the biggest shit talker in the NBA, so everyone knows that, right? I just don't know what it sounds like when they have like the mic'd up thing with Gary Payton Jr. or the second or third, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's always like, yeah, like, oh yeah. Hey, well, look out for Book. Like, there's nothing there. I want to hear the good stuff. Get rid of the sounds of the game, unless it's Booker talking shit.
It's a waste. It's a waste.
It's a total waste.
Like that's such a dumb segment. It's like between that and like sideline reporting, just get that out of there. Just give me a couple more stats, and I'll be happy with that. So, Biscuits in the Bear, a $4 donation because Biscuits in the Bear did say this preseason, whatever the Suns' margin of victory is, that will be the donation. So a 4-point victory, a $4 donation by Biscuits in the Bear in the super chat. I'm really hoping for some 50-point victories this year, Matthew. I don't know about you.
We might get a couple.
This team is fucking good. I'll tell you one guy who didn't necessarily look great tonight, and that is good old Easy Money Sniper.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
37 minutes played for Kevin Durant, as well as Devin Booker. They both played 37 minutes tonight. Kevin Durant goes 7 of 22 from the field for 18 points. He had 10 rebounds, so he went for 18 and 10. We call that pulling a DeAndre Ayton. 18 and 10. He had 3 assists. He had a block, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, 3 of 5 from the field. Watching Kevin Durant play tonight, obviously returning to Golden State, the emotions that go with that, the tribute before the game. But when he gets out there and you just see he's taking some tough ass jumpers, man. A lot of isolation, contested shots, falling away. Just frustrating to see that those are the kind of shots that he's taking. And ultimately, it's something that we witnessed last season in the postseason, where opposing teams, their defensive strategy is we're just going to be as physical as fucking possible with him, get him off his spots, and they're allowed to kind of get away with some of that physicality, which is somewhat frustrating to witness. But when he came to Phoenix last year, he had 2.5 turnovers. Tonight, he only had he had 2 as well. 2 as well. What are your thoughts on the just the tough shots that he's taking, and are turnovers going to be an issue with Kevin Durant here?
Oh, I forgot to start, but someone did say in the chat, they're like, he just, he will get warmed up this season. But we kind of thought the same thing last season, right? He'll get warmed up and he still put up the stats, but it just looks so bad. Tonight, it just looks bad. And I don't want to get too into it just because it's a long season, but it just looks really bad, man. When you mention, and of course we're talking about DeAndre, when you mention DA shots or whatever, his turnaround shot, what he's selling for, it reminds me of DA, where DA would just take those turnaround shots. I don't know how long I can wait, really, just because a lot in the first half, there were a lot of shots that KD put up there that I kind of felt like you guys could move the ball around and find Book again, because Book was so hot in the first half, dude. So I don't know if KD was just trying to get his and get more involved. It just takes a while, man, and it takes him too long to turn the corner. He can't really. Everyone's super aggressive with him, but I think he's just right now. It just looks really slow. I'm not going to say like he looks old or anything like that, but it just looks slow. It's just taking some time for him to get into motion, find his shot, break through screens to really even like get open. Like he's falling all over again and stuff like that. So it's really tough to watch. He did start off 2 for 3. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
but then it was just
shots look nice.
Yes, and then the rest of the game was just kind of yikes. The rest of the game. So the more and more I saw Beal on the bench, I'm like, dude, we're gonna need you, man, because as much as you guys want KD to be the old KD, it's going to be good. He'll have the 30 and 10 games, of course, but we need that other guy that's almost like on Book's level, and Beal's that way. He's not Book's level, but he'll be more the Robin. That's just going off of tonight.
Yeah.
It looks like Beal might be more the Robin, right?
Well, it's going to help everybody's spacing. That's for sure. And especially Kevin Durant's. Now, that being said, if you watch those last few possessions in which Devin Booker took over the game and was just dishing out passes to Okogie and then Gordon and then Nurkic on 2 of those plays, like Kevin Durant's open because of the gravity that Booker was playing with, but Booker didn't give him the ball because the other guys were even more open. So when the big 3 does play together, the spacing for Kevin Durant should open up, and we should see much more fluidity to his game and fluidity to his jump shot and squared up jump shots, not these, 1-footer falling away from 17 feet out. And that's what we saw a lot of tonight. But you're right. He doesn't possess the quickness that he once did to just get around the defender and get to his spot. And when he does, he's taking still kind of some awkward shots. So I'm hoping that in time there's some understanding of how he can better be productive, because that's just inefficient Durant. But we also know that Durant can be efficient. Our experience here in Phoenix, though, is not necessarily a super efficient Durant. You look at, in the 8 regular season games last season, he shot 57% from the field. That's his highest ever. Now, granted, it was only 8 games. But if you take a look at his field goal percentage come the playoff time in those 11 games, he shot 47.8% from the field. So we've yet to see a hyper-efficient Durant, and that's just our last memories, those last 11 games in the postseason. Obviously, much akin to Bradley Beal's back. Nothing I'm worried about, just an early season observation against a team he used to play for and a coach who used to play for, who's simply saying, you know what, the best strategy to take Kevin Durant out of his own game is to be as physical as possible with him and get underneath him. And it's the same thing the Clippers did in the Clippers series, is they got underneath him and bothered him, and he was definitely being bothered in this game.
Yeah, it was tough, but I think a lot of the times when he's going up for those really ridiculously hard shots, it's just he thinks he's going to make them, right? And he gets so frustrated because he's like, I know I can make these shots. Like, he has 2 or 3 feet over these guys. He's like, oh, I got it. So they'll start falling.
Some short-armed ones, some coming up short. And, again, I think that once Bradley Beal's there, obviously it's going to change forever, or it's going to change everything. And I kind of feel like a Nets fan, right? It's like, dude, once fucking Kyrie shows up, man, it's going to change everything, man. Once Harden's out there playing, man, it's like it's that big 3 thing. So this is our blessing, and this is our curse.
Oh, Grayson Allen, our fuck shit up guy.
So Grayson Allen gets the start tonight. And my favorite comment so far in the chat, a shout out to No Good, says Grayson is a fuck shit up guy too. He fucked up my parlay. Grayson Allen tonight, 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 5 from downtown, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a total of 0 points. Oh, it was a tough watch. Is Grayson Allen the new Landry Shamet, Matthew?
Oh, God.
Am I going there on game 1?
Yeah. You just saw the lack of confidence in him, and it honestly just looked like the
Sounds
game
like
was too big
Landry.
for him. I know, but it just looked like he kind of gave up on a lot of plays out there. Like, going for the rebounds, like it was just these guys are too fast for him. It was just too much for him tonight. And being in that starting role, like if we have another absence from Bradley Beal, then maybe he doesn't start again. You're right. Maybe he comes off the bench, something he's more used to. That would be nice. I just think it was too big of a game for him. And in certain situations, it was just like he was out hustled. So that was one thing we heard about him coming in here was the fact that he wasn't a guy that can really hang around in the playoffs and games that matter. He gets played out of them. You saw it tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's game one, but this is a game both teams wanted to start the season. It's a huge game. It was just too big for him, man.
You know what? We got the win. He played like shit. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm fine.
you
It's
know,
not like
obviously,
people were crazy to be so high up on him, like nuts about him. But
obviously his role will be that one coming in off the bench, and he will be matching bench players talent for talent. It would have been nice for him to hit one of those. Like he had a wide open corner three in the fourth quarter, and it's like, dude, you can totally redeem yourself here, and he just didn't totally redeem himself.
you can see it in him.
Yeah, it was kind of like a fadeaway shot, but he was doing some nice things on the defensive end, and that's what you want from him. I thought that he was being as physical as the officials would allow in that third quarter, which we'll talk about. Like I want to talk about the game flow here in a bit, but that third quarter completely was fucked up by the game flow and the whistle working against the Suns. It was hysterical. Like the Dimebacks clinched to go to the World Series, and then the Suns come out and they end up scoring, just 19 points in the third. We're like, fuck, outscored 40-19. We're like, fuck. But in that third quarter, Grayson Allen, that's where he kind of, I feel, had a lot of his challenges. He only played 5 minutes, but he was 0-4 from the field, 0-3 from beyond the arc. His 2 fouls occurred in that third quarter, and they were fouls that both directly led to free throw lines because of the timing in which it occurred. But again, this is something that when he goes back to the bench, I think he's going to find his role. He stepped outside of his role. He took his shots. I'd rather that he take his shots, and rather than, because Landry would take 2 shots and then you just wouldn't fucking hear from him anymore. He's like, oh, I'm not confident. Oh, I suck. And then he was done. And he was just like running around like a fucking pinball machine out there. So it was a bad showing by Grayson. But you know what?
Yeah.
There's 81 more of these, Matthew.
Yeah, but when he was shooting the three, it kind of seemed like, are you sure? You're sure you want me to take this? That's how I felt. It wasn't like he was running away from it either, like Shamit used to. He's just like, are you sure you want me to do this? All right, pass it back. Ugh, okay, I'll take it. Brick.
Well, and obviously the debate that many people had all day was, okay, if Bradley Beal's not playing, are you playing Grayson Allen? Are you playing Eric Gordon?
From Indiana University, number 23, Eric Gordon.
And Eric Gordon in this game started off, it was rough for those essentially first 3 quarters for him. 2 of 14 from the field in 22 minutes played. And then in that fourth quarter, 8 minutes played, he was 2 of 2 from the field. Both of those were huge 3-pointers, 6 points in that fourth quarter. Ultimately, coming off the bench, Eric Gordon plays 32 minutes, which is fucking fantastic to see a bench player who can give you 32 minutes, 4 of 16 from the field, 10 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block, 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. Ultimately, Eric Gordon, man, I'm glad that they kept him coming off the bench, and he was part of that closing unit. And I think it was obviously the right move. I just having him on this team, not afraid to take the shots. Obviously, for those of you who watched the FIBA World Cup qualifiers this summer, you saw what he did with the Bohemian team in that final game. He went off in the fourth quarter. He's got ice in his veins, and we saw it again tonight. When we needed him to step up, he did, and it was a huge part of this victory.
Yeah, I think he did everything that he does. He got to the rim, tried to draw contact, didn't get really any foul calls. Then he was just missing his threes. The only thing, though, is like when Book is on fire, you know what I mean? I know maybe Book needs a rest on the floor. Who knows? But I just feel like he needs to pass the ball a little bit more, move the ball around. But that's not him. Like, he's a chucker. He's a guy kind of like a Bledsoe in a way, and not the same kind of player, but he's just going to get to the rim. Once he hits the paint, he's going for the rim. He's going to get his own shot. He's not really going to pass out or see anybody else. He kind of has tunnel vision, but that's fine because when it works, it looks so good. It's just tonight it was not falling. When he hit that 3 to get the 11-0 run in the fourth quarter, then I was just like, okay, here we go. And you can see it on his face. He's just like, thank God, because he knows he's better than that. Just like Kevin Durant, he knows he can make those shots. Just was not falling for him. And I don't think like any player on the team's like, can you pass the ball? The coach is like, why don't you pass the ball? It's like, no, this is who he is.
Yes.
So we're going to have a lot of nights like this, but then a lot of fucking great nights where he's going to be the jam star.
Well, I thought about statements that multiple Suns fans, myself included, said this offseason is once this acquisition occurred, once Eric Gordon became a member of the Phoenix Suns, we all stated there's going to be a game or two this season where Eric Gordon wins it for us. And tonight almost feels like one of those games because of the magnitude of the three-pointer that he hit. Josh Okogie's 3 was huge, but it was kind of the nail in the coffin was Gordon's 3 off the assist from Devin Booker. And right there in the first game, it kind of fortified what a lot of us thought this offseason. This is the kind of guy who will be a closer for the Suns, who does have the cojones to shoot that ball, and then he hits it as well. And so, again, with the gravity that's out there, because Kevin Durant, Devin Booker out there, you're going to get some, and throw Bradley Beal out there eventually. Gordon's going to be just hanging out all season beyond the three-point line. He's going to have a little campfire going. He's going to be roasting some chicken rotisserie style, maybe have some baked beans. We'll throw him the ball, and all because of all the fire that's he's already on fire. And he's just going to be stroking it from downtown. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to win us games, which is what we saw tonight.
Yeah. And I was going to say Eric has some big gardenias, but gardenias are kind of small and they're really pretty. So I don't know. I was thinking it sounded good, but I remember it's a little flower, a little white flower. So he has little white flower balls. And I don't think he wants that.
What's that from? Is that a Sublime song that's got gardenias in it?
Oh, maybe. Sounds like it. They might
Sounds like
smoke it.
something with gardenias. I don't know. Oh.
Nurkic Watch.
First regular season game with Yusef Nurkic at the center position. And I don't know about you, Matthew, but I definitely liked what I saw. His 28 minutes that he played, he was 5 of 8 from beyond, or not beyond the arc, I'm sorry, just from the field. 14 points, 14 boards, 3 assists, 1 block, and was a +2 after everything was said and done, but was a +23 to lead the team in the first half. The first half, Nurkic was out there, and he was the only guy who was consistently rebounding. So what did you see from Yusef Nurkic in this game?
I saw a lot of plays where I'm like, oh, he's doing that. He's actually like rolling to the rim. He's making the right play. Like even the one at the end of the game that sealed the deal from Booker, that was huge. I was just so shocked by it. We saw in the preseason at times, but he just knows where to be. He's always hitting the high screen and rolls. But he is basically, I think he's kind of like a point guard for this team. He runs so much. When he's back in the game, I feel very complete. I feel very comfortable with him in there. But
I feel complete.
I do.
Yusef,
I'm just like,
you complete me.
He completes me in this offense. I think he does. And I think that one thing that he does very, very well is rebounding, of course, but taking advantage of a guy like Looney. Just like he bodies him. I think Ayton used to do the same thing with Looney too. I think a lot of centers do. But it just looks so good tonight where he can just fall on the other end, just making big play after big play. Sometimes it didn't always look so good, but it just his great plays outweigh the bad so much. And we're going to have some bad games probably by him. But tonight, it's just like he kind of has his way. He talks a lot on the floor. You see that.
Yes.
He talks the book a ton. He just understands the game a lot more than what we would think. That's why I get so excited when I see these plays. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what? He did that? What? I was not expecting that. So that makes me excited because it's the first game with this team. And we always thought, or I did going into the season where I'm like, he needs the most reps with these guys just to get, things going. And now he already looks like so comfortable with Booker. I'm excited to see him with Beal. I'm sure he's happy for him to come back, but you didn't really see too much with him and KD. Like I thought we would see, kind of like we saw in the preseason, but that's more of a KD thing. Maybe he can't really get free. But right now Nurkic is kind of running that offense when he's in there.
We saw the duality of Yusef Nurkic tonight. On offense, as you mentioned, he has that connector ability and the offensive acumen to not only set himself up, but to cut correctly, to roll correctly, to put himself in the right offensive rebounding positioning, but also to be, when he has the ball in his hand, to be the connector, to be the one who is passing to his teammates, to be the one who can just make everybody on the court that much more effective and efficient. The other side of the coin is defensively, he was getting cooked and he was being targeted. CP3 was actively targeting him. CP3 is slow driving to the rim. How many times did we see CP3 drive to the rim in his career with the Suns? Not very often. Back into his career, 38, came here when he was 35 years old, came and his game changed because he wanted to avoid injuries. He wanted to avoid the physicality that occurs when you drive to the cylinder. So it was a lot of middies the entire time he was here. He was part of the mid-range mafia for a whole 8 games. And tonight against Nurkic, he would take him out on the perimeter, and then attack the cylinder and get the and one calls. So we saw that duality of that's going to be Yusef Nurkic throughout the entire season. He has a lot of really positive offensive attributes, and that fit is what is the reason why James Jones, Frank Vogel, Matt Ishbia, Josh Bartelstein, that's why they targeted him and wanted to bring him to Phoenix. But again, the challenge that we're going to have is defensively, when you have somebody like Chris Paul, who is an astute offensive mind, they're going to pull him out away from the basket and then just go right. It's ISO and go. And that's what he's going to get all night long. And that's just what we have to kind of deal with.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to say something, but never mind. I'm good.
Well, I will say a couple more things. He does play with some give a fuck. And it's nice to see a center who plays with some give a fuck. So that was fun. I put that in my notes. And I wrote in my notes, Judy. I'm going to call him Judy.
Judy?
Well, yeah. I tweeted about his plus 23 at the half. And I put, it autocorrects. I wrote Yusef Nurkic. It has a plus 23. And it autocorrected. I didn't catch it. Just said, like, Judy's Nurkic has a plus 23. I'm like,
oh, okay.
And I will say this too, on the other side, and we don't still have a drop for him, but when he left the game, especially in that first half, the Suns, and this is one of the challenges that they have, and something that, if you talk about, thumbs up from the game, thumbs down from the game. Thumbs down was that second team unit, their rebounding effectiveness, their lack of physicality. Drew Eubanks in the first half did not look good. And ultimately, you're sitting there watching it, and we have a bunch of players on this team who have extremely long wingspans, but they really haven't historically had a good track record of being effective rebounders. And you saw that, especially in that, second quarter. The Phoenix Suns, it was at the end of the first, somewhere in there, just the first half overall, from a rebounding perspective, the Suns out-rebounded the Golden State Warriors, but on the offensive rebounding, it was 9 offensive rebounds given up to the Golden State Warriors, and then the way that they were just turning the ball over, and the points off turnover, 9 total turnovers for the Phoenix Suns, which led to 11 points. Conversely, they had only forced 4 turnovers to Golden State in that first half, and garnered 2 points from that. So there is some work with that second team unit. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like Kiko G says, Metu and KBD should have a chance next game. Totally true. They're just trying to figure this out. I think in the second half they played a little bit better. I think even Watanabe just kind of woke up a little bit more, made some more hustle plays. But in the first half, it did look ridiculous. It's only because we were so high on this team, scoring like 72 points off the bench against the Lakers, and they come in and they do this. That's the way it's going to happen, right? You can't have everything in one night. We got Big Dick Book, though, so that's good.
Utah.
Yuta Watanabe played 18 minutes off of the bench, 3 of 5 from the field, including 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, for a total of 8 points, 4 rebounds as well. Very effective minutes, I felt. Just seeing him out on the court, running around, having a good time like he does, looking like Hines Ward, just smiling everywhere when he was running. But I thought it was a very productive introduction to who and what Yuta Watanabe is and who he's going to be for this team. And I just hope that I enjoy something someday as much as Ian Eagle did, as much as he enjoyed just saying Watanabe. Like, he was having so much fun just saying his name.
He always has so much fun. Even talking to Draymond, they're like, "Hey, Draymond, you want to come back on?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." He tried to ignore them at the beginning, and he's just like, "Hey, Draymond, you just look great tonight." He's a fun listen for sure. I love that guy. Dude, Yuta, he's am I saying it right now? Yuta? All right.
Yuta the shooter.
We're in
You got
we're
for those of
back
you
in
who
business.
for those of you who haven't been watching the podcast all summer long, Matthew's been calling him Utah.
Someone
Utah
else said that.
Watanabe.
I think it was a Suns player
A lot
too.
of people
all right?
do. Yuta the shooter.
This is who he is, right? The 8 points, a couple big threes, kind of just being nasty there in the paint. Sometimes it took the ball away. I don't expect too much from him this season. I expect some really fucking great plays, maybe some game winners, but nothing that's like crazy. It's like, oh, he didn't get 15 points today, or he didn't get 16 points. I'm not worried about that. I like him on the floor. I feel comfortable with Nurkic. Judy Nurkic, I'm really comfortable with him out there on the floor, and then also Yuta. I just like him, and it's not always going to be the stats. It's just him on the floor making the right plays, like the way that Grayson Allen looks on the floor, where you can tell he just didn't have it in him tonight. Yuta always does. He always has that energy. He always has that positivity on the floor, just moving the ball around, making the right play. So that's what you're going to get, man. You know what? I might have to just reuse this take all season long because it's going to be probably a constant thing.
Well, I think we're all excited for what he can bring. Somebody's going to come in and pop a couple threes. That's what you want from a bench player who has his length. Again, not a great rebounder. He did have the 4 rebounds, but he was part of that unit that just couldn't fucking grab a rebound to save their life. Like when you have this guy out rebounding you.
The Saric smoke break.
Like goddamn, Dario Saric played 20 minutes. He was 3 of 11 from the field, but he had 7 boards and 4 were on the offensive end because he's out jumping Yuta Watanabe. Like that is frustrating as fuck to watch that as a Suns fan. So that's a challenge with Yuta is again, and as I stated, you have a lot of these long wings who just don't have a historical track record of being effective rebounders. That's what you're going to get. But the fact that he can hit that 3, he's a great safety blanket, especially when Kevin Durant's out there. KD knows him. He's played with him before in Brooklyn. He sees him out there in his peripheral vision off to the right-hand side. He dishes to him. 9 times out of 10, he's wide the fuck open because KD's out there. And that's what you want from him. Like you said, it's not about the stats. It's about the spacing. And hopefully he can increase just his effectiveness on rebounding and allowing us to have extra possessions or negate opposing extra possessions.
How many games last year did we lose, or when Sarge was on the team, excuse me, just by 4 points when he just misses those easy lay-ins all night tonight? Sorry, I know he made 3. I'm surprised he made 3 shots tonight. He misses everything that's easy.
I know.
And he's garbage at times. I'm sorry. I like how, Steve said he's going to be playing the end of the game.
Yeah,
he's going to be closing it out, but come on. Really? I'm sorry, dude. I wish he just sat on the ball tonight.
Don't be sorry. I will say that Saric, for everything that he did here, we knew who he was. He got the smoke break moniker because that's who he is. He's somebody kind of like looks like he's taking a smoke break. And again, I just think that just seeing him in a he looked bigger. I don't know how. Maybe it's because he played. I don't know.
He looked slimmer.
I thought he looked.
Did he have like a haircut?
I don't know.
He'll look different next game.
Yeah, he always does. One guy I wanted to give a quick shout out to is one of the first guys off the bench, and again, somebody who we're going to see a lot this season. I feel.
Where's my dog?
Jordan Dogwin.
There's my dog.
Jordan Dogwin, because he's a dog on defense. Came out and gave some effective minutes. He played 14 minutes, had a steal, a couple points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Are you interested? Does it interest you that he got minutes, or do you think that those minutes occurred simply because Bradley Beal was not playing tonight?
No, I think he'll get minutes. I think we all learned in the preseason his few games that he did play when he came in. I think he missed the first 2, right? Came in the third. He was definitely a fan favorite. I think right now him playing point is something different. I just kind of want him to play, off ball defense, the opposite of Okogie. Him and Okogie together is just kind of ridiculous out there.
Yes.
That's always fun. I think he needs to play every game. I look forward to seeing him out there, man. I didn't realize what we really had until he was out there in preseason. So him bringing that defensively with Okogie it's kind of hard to play against that, dude, because they don't really foul. They play great. I mean, a few here or there, but they play such great defense where they're not fouling these guys, and they're turning the game around by getting these big steals at the end of games and crunch time. That's what they do. So he's gonna be playing a lot of minutes this year, I feel like.
They're deflectors, right? They're
Yeah.
players who put their hands in passing lanes, instinctively know where to be defensively and negate the opposition from being a fluid attack. And again, only 14 minutes, not a ton, but I liked what I saw from Goodwin again tonight. Something that we definitely saw a couple times during the preseason when he finally played. And I just think, again, it's another great pickup for the Suns. And on a national level, some people got to see that. They're like, Jordan Goodwin's out there. Who's this guy? And then I feel he played well. I'm going to do one more drop before we get into some subreddit stakeout, just because I love the sound of this drop.
Nasty Nas, what square dance with me?
Nasty Nas didn't play much. He only played 3 minutes, but he did hit a 3 in those 3 minutes, and he had a rebound and a steal. I thought it was a very productive 3 minutes. I'm like Frank Vogel's like, yo, I'm just going to put Nas out there for like 3 minutes. He comes out, he gets a great backside steal off of Steph Curry, goes down, hits a 3, gets a board. I thought it was a nice little introduction to Nasir Little. That's what I want to see from Nas right there.
He's gone. Just like that. He's gone. I don't know. I was excited. When he shot that 3, I actually was nodding. As he was shooting, I'm like, that looks good.
He was
like
wide
I used
the
to do
fuck
Shamit,
open.
something like, oh, that one looks good.
Yeah, but
And
then
he
Shamit was shooting
confident.
flat. And
Yeah. This guy confident shot. He gets pulled. I don't know what he did. What did he do wrong?
Oh, man. All right. Well, you were hanging out
I was
on the Golden State subreddit. For those of you who are new to the program, what we do during games is one of us will go to the subreddit of the opposing team simply to hear what they have to say about the game. How are they absorbing it from an opposing fan base standpoint? What do they think of the Phoenix Suns? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the subreddit stakeout. The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
the king. You know, same disguise. I think it's 3 pods of me doing subreddit as a king. It's not being lazy, is it?
You got to give me a hua.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
Is it?
It's so funny to me. I'm sorry. I'm a child.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying yourself out there too, Jamsters.
Hua.
They say fuck moral victories. This team needs every victory they can get. So already kind of feeling that pressure. And I wanted to say too, Klay Thompson.
Interesting.
Klay Thompson did say that this is going to be like his best year. He's ready for it. This is going to be his best year of his career. I don't know if he I don't know if he just has it. I know it's one game, but even last year, I don't know, man. I don't see it yet, obviously.
So on that note, Klay Thompson, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 of 18 from the field. I mentioned before he was 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. His best season ever from a points production standpoint was 2016/17 with Kevin Durant alongside him. He went for 22.3%, shot 41% from beyond the arc. He shot over 40% from beyond. So he's let's see, how many total seasons has he played? 10 years experience. How many seasons do you think he has shot over 40% from beyond the arc, Matthew?
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of his 10 seasons, and the one season that he didn't, which was 2 seasons ago, he was 38.5%. So he's an elite 3-point shooter.
Yes. Hey, remember that granny?
The one who fell down and
guys, the granny died for this, waving the towel. I thought that was a comeback, dude. I thought that this game was over because of that comeback, or because of her walking off.
waving the towel, and
God
everyone's
bless
gonna
her.
get behind her.
Yeah, she. I don't know.
How does
what
Granny
happened,
have floor tickets? That's my question.
well, I don't know. Maybe it's on her bucket list. You know, go see a Warriors game at at an arena that's not as good as the last. It's so dead quiet in there, isn't it? Yeah, it's not the same at all.
Yeah, it's not like Oracle Arena was. That's for sure. That place was insane, man.
Poor Granny fainted for nothing. Sorry, I took the whole Granny thing. That was scary, dude. Also, they did say, as I'm scrolling through right now, I can't believe. Okay, I forgot. It was. You know, I'm not making an excuse. I just forgot. Damn, dude. I told myself not to forget. There was a KD comment in here I wanted to read too. Sorry, Jamsters. Go ahead and just take the money away. I'll give it to John. Laugh my ass off. Phoenix played like trash, KD, and we still got thumped. So we kind of did. It wasn't the game for the ages, but you know.
What they say about what they see about Chris Paul?
Let me see.
Start scrolling.
Let me just search CP3. CP3. Oh, Moody. What the fuck? Did he even play in the second half, man?
I don't know. Let me look at the.
Moody
I don't
with the
remember being
steroid
out
booty?
there. Third. So let's look. Second half. Moody. No, he
That's
played 6 minutes. He had 0 points. He's 0 for 1 from the field.
So he just started off awesome and then just fell off.
Yeah, Kuminga took all his minutes essentially. He played
That's crazy,
14, but Kuminga was playing well. He had 10 points and on 3 of 6 shooting at 6 free throw attempts. Obviously, because all those whistles in the third. But
someone put really quick. There's 2 more. League Pass screwed me over. I couldn't watch the final 5 minutes. Shake my head. Sorry, dude.
Oh, that sucks.
That does suck, dude. And then why the fuck are we running CP3 down the stretch when we need defense? Play Wiggins or GP3 or GP2.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I got it. It's okay. It'll happen many times this season.
It's gonna happen a couple. Times, I'm sure.
We'll let each other down. So, oh shit. Yeah, just make stuff up. Like,
you know what? I could have done that. I gotta play it off better.
Booker looks like a wet lesbian. That's what they said here. You know, they always say that. So
that's always one. Yeah.
It was interesting to see this guy.
The point guard.
Oh, you're muted, dude. I tried to unmute you.
After playing 3 seasons with the Phoenix Suns, obviously Chris Paul is now playing with the Golden State Warriors. Got the start tonight. Not necessarily the game plan. They don't want to start him. They want him coming off the bench, and then he's more of a closer, which, as apparently the Golden State fans aren't going to be a fan of that. But 34 total minutes for Chris Paul tonight. 14 points, 9 assists. He was 0 of 6 from beyond the arc and 4 of 15 overall. 6 rebounds as well. What did it feel like for you seeing CP3 once again as a member of the opposition? He's somebody who obviously for, the first, 15 years of his career was an opposing force, always in the Western Conference, has never played in the Eastern Conference. He comes to Phoenix. Some of us are pessimistic about his arrival, his age, his injury history. We go to the finals. We win 64 games, and then last season happens. Obviously, getting injured in all of the postseason runs at some point. But now he's an enemy again. So is he like a frenemy to you now because you've had that relationship? Or is it back to like, you fucking flopper? What's that rip through shit, man?
Yeah, when he goes 0 for 6 to start the game, then I'm okay with it. But towards the end of the game,
Fair.
when he's actually kind of making a comeback with the team and drawing the foul, getting the and ones or whatever he's doing down there, then that's frustrating, especially at his age. It's not. I don't really have a feeling about it. I know, like with his run with Phoenix, there was times where I'm like, he's the best point guard we've ever had on this franchise. With this franchise, and now that we're playing him with the Warriors, I don't feel too threatened right now. I just don't. I think maybe because when we go into a game without Draymond, I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be easier because Draymond runs that offense basically. So maybe they have to rely on him more to get things going, or just he wants this game because it's Phoenix. I don't know how I really feel about it, dude. I don't really care. Is that weird?
It's not weird.
Maybe
it's fine. It's fine. I do like what Equipment Manager Fallen Founder, one of the hosts of the Suns Planet podcast, states in the chat. He goes, "Oh, I'm so glad we are done with Scott Foster."
Yes.
That Scott Foster CP3
wasn't he tonight? Oh no, he wasn't on tonight.
No. I recognize that son of a bitch anywhere. It was weird a little bit to me seeing him in an opposing threads. But at the same time, it's just kind of, it is what it is. I don't feel any way about it. And you're right. Him coming out and going 0 of 6 from beyond the arc, it doesn't hurt me in any kind of way. It doesn't, I have no ill will towards him. I don't like the fact that he's on the Warriors. I don't see it working. It's kind of like one of those Kyrie Irving on the Dallas Mavericks things. You're like, oh, that's cute. I really like what you're doing there. It's kind of like Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's like, oh, you're just helping this guy out, letting him live out his dream with you. And that's kind of what I feel like with CP3. And, it's going to take time for them to figure out exactly how that fits, especially at the back end of games. Remember that Chris Paul wasn't very good in the clutch last season. He was 2 seasons ago when we won 64 games. He was elite. And last year, he just fell off a fucking cliff in the clutch. And that's where the Warriors are going to be in a lot of clutch games, and they might have some challenges with CP3. Again, it's one game. They have some things they have to work on. Clearly, we need to do some things with our second team unit. Find just some connectivity with our second team unit. When like Drew Eubanks is getting a rebound, he's just like throwing it out in the fast break, and he just throws it out of bounds like nobody's there. It's like
two dudes are just running.
He looks like Derek Carr out there, just like throwing it out of bounds, and he's like mad because the guy wasn't there. Now, granted, Drew Eubanks didn't get mad, but just a connectivity thing that just doesn't exist yet, and it's not going to. For the first, we'll talk in 20 games about who we are, and from afar we'll have an understanding of who the Golden State Warriors are and whether or not that connectivity happens. But at this point, I'm with you. I didn't really feel anything.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters. This is a reminder to subscribe, rate, review. Give us a thumbs up on the YouTube channel if that's where you're watching this. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. So rate us 5 stars. Type out a little review. We'll read it right here on the podcast. Should be fun. It's always a good time to hear what you have to say, and we always appreciate your support. The best way to support the podcast is by doing those things. So Jam star of the game, Matthew. Who are you dishing that out to in game 1 of the season? And should I track these this year? I think I'm going to try to track them.
Yeah, we can track them. I'm going to go Book.
Okay. Wow, you say it like reluctantly. Why?
Because I just loved Okogie's game today.
I'll give it to Okogie. 3
assists at the end. Huh? You can give it to Okogie? Those 3 assists at the end, dude, from Book were just
You're right.
They gave it to him for sure.
You're right. It should be Booker. You look at kind of what the chat is doing. The big warthog, good to see you back in the chat, gives it to Okogie. Kiko's back in the chat. My jam star is Josh Okogie. Ted Offensive gives it to Big Dick Booker, as does the Aussie Suns Fan Podcast. Fabio saying Book, Okogie, or Allen with a little LOL there. Kiko's like, yes, track them. I will do my best. MVB, most valuable Booker from Equipment Manager, Fallen Founder. Book, honorable mention for Jewel. I think, I got to go with Booker. Laser Show gives it to Okogie. I'm going to give it to Booker. Like you said, the last 3 assists really is what did it in this game. Huge assists. Lee says Nurkic needs some love. Give him the jam star. Book will get plenty. Okogie had an excellent game as well.
Book will win plenty. I like how we're gonna do that all season long. I think because Book's always gonna be fucking just amazing. So
I know this is MVP year, man. Of course he's gonna get him.
Yeah.
And I like what Freddie in the chat says. BDB and Corbin effing Carroll. Let's go for Corbin Carroll just showing up in game 7. That was fucking fantastic. So. Next game for the Phoenix Suns coming to you on Thursday. We are playing the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that had Anthony Davis go for a grand total of 0 points in the second half tonight against the Denver Nuggets in a loss for the against the Denver Nuggets. I'm very interested to hop on to SB Nation either tonight or tomorrow and just read what their Silver Screen and Roll site has to say about the Lakers, because again, the Lakers are a team that a lot of people have faith in. I was reading a lot of power rankings just kind of throughout the week. A lot of national pundits have the Lakers 1 above the Suns. The Suns are 3 or 4 or 5. The Lakers are 2 or 3 or 4. Like everyone thinks because the Lakers made that Western Conference Finals run last season that this team is unbelievable. And the fact that you have AD and Braun, I get it. You have amazing top end talent, but I think that there's a lot of questions that need to be answered for this team. And obviously playing the defending champs, a team that's very, very connected and possesses that organic chemistry is tough. But that being said, I think the Lakers are overrated, and I think this is going to be a win for the Suns. What do you think, Matthew?
2 things. So I did see that the coach for the Lakers, forget his name, did say that LeBron will probably be playing the 29 minutes max this year, every game. 29 minutes, 30 minutes, were around there. So that sucks. That might be a thing.
Darvin Ham.
Second thing is I didn't watch this game, but Bill Simmons has sent out a tweet referencing that Anthony Davis gave a shit for maybe an hour of the game. So that was one thing I said before the season started. I'm like, you'll get really good spurts from these guys in like maybe a good half, the most, but then they won't show up because they don't have it in them because they're broken, dude. this team's fucking broken, and they can't repair themselves. It's too late. It's already game 1. It's too late. They're done.
I love it. That's game 1.
They go on a 20-game win streak.
Season's over. Just so you know, LeBron James, the least amount of minutes per game he's ever played in his career was 33.4 in 2020/21. And
but if
I mean,
if he plays at 29, that's gonna like cost them games, right? If it's like, okay, well, he's
that's
going
four
over
less minutes of minutes of
crazy,
LeBron.
man.
And
What
so
a waste
again,
of season.
they have some interesting depth on this team. You have to rely on that depth, and some people think that's an unbelievably deep team. I'm still of that mindset that people, because Rui Hachimura had like 3 good games in the postseason last year, that all of a sudden Ruri's leveled up, ladies and gentlemen. No, Ruri's still Rui Hachimura. He shoots 30% from beyond the arc. Like, he's still that guy. So if you're putting this much faith into him, that's like us putting a ton of faith in Landry Shamet, because Landry Shamet had like 3 good games in the playoffs, one run where, dude, Landry's the guy now. No, he's fucking in Washington now. That's where he is, back where Ruri came from. So what's your final prediction? Do the Suns win or do the Suns lose?
Yeah, I think the Suns kill them. I think they come out, their bench looks a lot better, and put up maybe not 70, but let's go like 50 points off the bench, 50, 60 points. And LeBron is laying the ball up. I did see that. So that's his new thing. It'd say poor GOAT James looks so sad. That's why I'm saying
he's like, he was getting mad at D'Angelo Russell because the offense wasn't being cohesive.
D'Lo just shot the ball, started getting the ball in the elbow. Like, does it fucking matter? Like, I don't know. They talked about Austin Reeves being so great, and he barely got the ball. I think D'Lo had the ball more than him in this game, and Reeves was kind of like the 4th guy. So just go fuck yourselves, Lakers. Figure it out, or just blow it up and get a real team out there that you're not going to manage minutes for during the season. It's so stupid.
We shall see on Thursday. It's our first taste of the Lakers. I like that we're getting them right off out of the gate. Again, one thing to be aware of in this game, though, is the fact that Anthony Davis is going to run fucking circles around Nurkic, and we just have to accept that and hope that Beal's healthy enough to play. We can utilize our spacing and do what we can do, because AD will have a good game, and Nurkic will look bad again. That's my prediction right here. But I do predict a Suns win along with you, Matthew. So this one, if we both get it right, we're 1-0. We both said Suns on this game. So we'd be 2-0. I'm going to track this again. I still have in our chat from years ago, I still have final. These are our final records from like the 2020 season or something, when you beat me by 1 game. Because it's very rare like we'd go against each other, and then so I still have it there because I knew I was going to come back to it. This is the season we come back to that. Another thing is, I think that both of us, or at least me, will be on the Lakers Fast Break pregame show for that one. They've invited us to be on that. So for those of you who've seen us on that show, the Lakers Fast Break on YouTube, fun show, some good guys over there who've accepted us into their realm and allowed me to show up and talk a little junk. I always appreciate that. So if you get a chance for a pregame show, pop over there, see us, see Matthew and I just fucking holding our ground in there or whatnot.
Launch all that nuclear bomb just a second ago, but I'm just fucking sick of this team.
No, be real with them, man. Be like, dude, you guys are fucking toast. Then we lose by 40. But on that note, Jamsters, we appreciate you hanging out with us after the season opening victory over the Golden State Warriors. Again, 108-104. Suns win, Diamondbacks win. Even though I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm supporting the Western Conference, or whatever they call it, the National League.
There you go, the National League. Yeah.
Make sure you tune in, subscribe, rate, review, hit that bell notification. But we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night after the Suns play the Lakers. Until then, Matthew,
go home, love your family.